Roundtable, where we talk about current market conditions and answer any questions you might have. For those of you who are new, welcome. If this is your first live event, do me a favor, type in first. Always want to welcome new subscribers. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. Trading stock and options involve risk, not suitable for everyone. You must be aware of the risk and be willing to accept it in order to invest in current market conditions. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not registered with FINRA. No, see, I'm showing you what I do in my own account based on my own response level for general education information purposes only. All right, let's talk about trading plan and the current market conditions and see if we want to review. All right, so again, I think the main driver behind current news is that the focus of investors have shifted from government shutdown, prolonged government shutdown, and now uncertainty about the macroeconomic data. Right? The government was the longest shutdown in history of the United States, I believe, and we didn't have September and October unemployment data. CPI and PPI data wasn't delayed. So now the question is, especially with all the recent layoffs announced by different companies like Verizon, UPS, Goldman Sachs, the question is the unemployment ticked up or not? So that's the main driver behind the current market's pullback. I mean, and obviously evaluations, right? Record high evaluations, especially on high beta, you know, AI stocks, right? That was the announcement that I forgot the guy's name, the Big Short, that he's shorting by large levels on put levels on Pelletier. So all of it is kind of contributing to the current market pullback. So if you look at the levels, well, first let's look at stock forecast toolbox. It actually turned negative. So stock forecast toolbox turned negative, basically saying 679 is the overhead resistance, 667 is your support. We were at 665 in the morning, we're at 668. So model is doing a great job, basically saying that we were as low as 663, basically saying that 663 market is oversold, at 679 the market is overbought, right? But the path of least resistance is to continue going lower, right? So that the short term has turned negative, right? Long term we're still in a bullish trend, but the short term we turn negative and potentially could reach 650, right? 650. So that's the stock forecast toolbox. If you zoom out to 6 months predictions, basically for the month of November, it's C688 is overhead resistance, so that's kind of where we were, and we could be as low as 630, right? Could be as low as 630. I think 630 is aggressive. The model only looks and trains on the data. So based on the price actions of the data, we could get to the 630 level. But I think it will require basically negative print on the unemployment data. So if unemployment data indeed does tick up, then I think Bloomberg said next week there could potentially be partial unemployment data, right? You can ask actually ChatGPT. Let's look ChatGPT. No, sorry, I don't like ChatGPT. I mean, I like ChatGPT, but I usually use Grok for financial stuff. Let's see. All right. Do a new one. When will the next employment data come out? Okay. Common question, I guess, not the only one. Schedule to so related labor schedule. Okay. When will September and October November. Unemployment data. Data be available. Yeah, that's not next employment was okay, was government. And the reopening. When world data. Come on, employment data be available, Next. All right, let's see. Did the government should have a collection of civil disruptors so recall to the US the delayed okay, here expected release. Okay, this is better. You got to be careful how you phrase the questions. Okay, so delayed by shutdown data largely collected pre-shutdown, expected release within days of November 14, likely November 18 to 20. So next week we should get some September data. Delayed data incomplete due to shutdown, White House indicated may never be released. It could be partially imputed or estimated, creating a permanent blind spot. If issued, expect late November or December, but with quality caveats. So obviously that creates uncertainty in the market. So potentially we could have a choppy market between now and December, the first week of December, when the unemployment data actually comes out, right? Because that's what people are concerned about. And you can see that in the yield, right? Yield pullback actually rebounded sharply right now. Looks like buyers on the dip are stepping in. And then dollar is still stable, right? Around 100 level, and you can see the most important level on SPX, even though the model did turn negative, but the most important level on SPX is 6,700, right? And for now, bulls were able to step in and close the gap, right? I mean, we're still not out of the woods. I wait till end of day to make the decision, but you can see something similar happened first week of November, right? The initial pullback. The same thing, prolonged government shutdown evaluations, and the people are hedged at 6,700. And at least for now, bulls are stepping in. We'll see if there's a continuation next week, like we had last week. But that's at this point probably too early to tell, right? I would say it's too early to tell. If you look at the gamma exposure on QQQ, 600 level is the most important level, right? QQQ football is at 600. Gamma is at 621. And you can see QQQ so far was able to hold on to the 600 level, right? It pierced through it short briefly, and then was able to close the gap, and actually QQQ is turning positive along with SMH, which is a good sign, right? That at 50-day moving average, bulls are able to step in. So usually I wait, at least 1 or 2 days to make a determination whether these levels will or will not hold. And that's this slide, right? So wait till end of day to make a decision, right? If you want to rebalance your portfolio. If you're bullish, most people were bullish on the market. If you think trend is changing, wait at least till end of day, or preferably Monday after the close, to see if this important level will or will not hold, right? Somewhere between 590 and 600. And you can see in terms of open interest, this is where a majority of the contracts are. 600 and 590 level. You probably won't see, you don't see much hedging below these levels, right? At least as of right now, in terms of gamma exposure, right? Very little. So that would be, that's the current setup, right? Will QQQ hold 600 level or will it not? Any questions? And you could see reversal across the board, right? Small caps, very important level. If you look at the now I'm looking at the weekly chart. If you look at the small caps, I mean, we made marginal new lows, right? So, and again, not a lot of support. So false breakout. We broke out through all-time high, took out the 2022, 2024 level. We were trading at all-time high, and now we're trading below the breakout level. So it's still a vulnerable setup in terms of breadth and number of companies that have been affected. If you look at the percentage of companies above 20-day moving average, we haven't reached extremes like April lows. We were close to the August and September lows, but still not quite there. So I wouldn't say this is extremely oversold level. Same thing could be said about 50-day moving average, right? We're getting close to these levels, but still not to the April extremes. And percentage of stocks above 200-day moving average, I mean, very few, right? We haven't even reached the, I mean, we're close to October, November, but not anything that's extreme like we had in April. Bitcoin is another area of concern, right? We broke through the psychological level, 100,000. This was July low. So we're trading basically at the April level. And for year to date, we're flat, right? Probably, yeah, flat. So, or maybe even negative. So that's another level I would watch. As long as the Bitcoin is below 100,000, I mean, then that's area of concern. Small caps, same thing. As long as it's up, you know, below 240, 240, I would say we're still not, you know, then the pullback probably, you know, still could continue. But you can see some of the companies are turning positive, right? NVIDIA turning positive, right? That's the positive, that would be positive, right? For today. And then Micron, right? Micron is up 6%, Micron turning positive. Broadcom, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Tesla, NVIDIA. So companies are turning positive, and that would be you know, bullish for the market. Any questions? So basically, I'm kind of at this point, since most majority of the price section is in technology, people are concerned about tech evaluation. I'm watching QQQ, right? We basically retesting last week low, and we're retesting this 590 level, which we haven't broke since September, right? So if we drop below 590 level, then I would say I would rebalance my portfolio, maybe raise cash, maybe close some of the long positions. Or add to your hedges. How do we help on Tradespoon? So we have stock forecast toolbox, right? This is a tool that you can use to help you make a decision, you know, short-term and long-term decisions. You can manage your portfolio. You can enter stocks that you're watching here. It will also give you prediction for each of your stock in your portfolio. We have company screener that can tell you long-term which sectors are in uptrend, right? What are the strongest sectors to watch, like semiconductors, right? Electronics, some of the internet stocks like Amazon, right? AI stocks, metals and miners, right? Very strong price action in metals and miners. So these are the long-term trends that on pullback, like silver, you might consider buying, right? When silver reverses, and I mean, you have a double top, so maybe I won't chase it. But 42, 44, maybe this is a time to consider, you know, entering some of the metals and miners positions, like silver or gold, right? Gold too. I'm neutral. I think till the end of the year, I'm probably neutral on gold and silver. I think it's going to be a choppy market, you know, trading in the range, maybe 350, 340 to 400. You know, I'll be surprised if we take out the 400 by end of the year with all the uncertainty in the market and the traffic. Next year, I think the bullish trend continues. Thank you, Joseph. Any other questions? All right, so that's stock forecast toolbox. In terms of models, we have 3 different models which I use to trade. I don't trade all of the signals, but it's a good indication. This is a very sensitive model to short-term price fluctuation, meaning in the past couple of days, right? It adjusts to current market conditions, very sensitive to short-term day. So you can see today we didn't have any signals, actually. So November 14th, no signals. For November 13th, we did have a signals yesterday. Cisco, right? Cisco is an uptrend. American Express is an uptrend. Gilead is an uptrend. So right now, if you think market reaches the bottom, right, and 50-day moving average will hold, then maybe it makes sense to buy American Express. You can see the very strong uptrend. Gilead signs, right? These are the stocks you want to buy on the pullback, assuming you think the key levels will hold. If you don't think QQQ will hold level, then you know, even strong momentum stocks will be under pressure. And some of these stocks I actually trade, right? So you can actually see, and if you go to Elite Circle, look at the traders log, you can see Cisco. I've actually traded Cisco as part of I did the earnings strategy, but you can see I sold the put spread on Cisco. I sold 70.69 put spread because I thought AI stocks are still benefiting. One of the major benefits of the current AI cycle, and Cisco is an infrastructure play. You know, they're in all data centers providing networking, switching, firewalls, switches. So sold the credit put spread and bought call spread, 78, 79 spread. So some of these signals I will trade, some of them I will not. So, but this is a great way if you're looking for trade ideas generated by AI and AI signals. These are the potential trades I would do, right? And you can see Cisco is currently, you know, close to open print from the yesterday. So it's active trader. You get bullish, you get bearish ideas. No, there were no bearish last time, and you can also use option contracts, options data. So if you want to leverage American Express, you can go into this Friday or next Friday or monthly expiration. If you think this level will hold, you can buy a call, right? You can buy 367.5 call, or at this point, I would maybe buy 360 or 365 call. And again, I would use 1% of underlying stock. If you do short-term aggressive trade, it's 1% of underlying stock, which is $4. That's why I suggest if you enter at 470, you exit at 840, or you exit at 95 cents. So you use underlying stock as your trigger for entering and exit even option trades. And I encourage you to split the trade into 2. Right? So you have 2 different entries. Maybe put half of your position at these levels, and if you still, you know, have a choppy market, then I would put the second half on a further pullback. And the idea is only to have 4 active positions at a time, and maximum loss of 2.5%. Right, maximum loss of 2.5% of account value per position. Because risk management, especially when the market is volatile, is very important, right? Because VIX, you know, I think we had 22 print. Right, we kind of retest in the October print, but you know, it could accelerate, right? VIX could get to 28 level, right? No, you know, nobody can guarantee that we're not going to get to the 28 level. It just depends on, you know, unemployment data next week, right? If it comes better than expected, then maybe the rebound continues. But if it's worse than expected, then you're going to have retest of these low levels again. Any questions? Joseph, thank you. Andre, Mark. All right, so let's look at the, what else do we want to look at? Weekly trader. This is active trader published every single day after the market closed, right around 8 p.m. Chicago time. Weekly trader is published every week. Every week you get new signals, right? And then you can actually see for this week, you know, Terra data, right? Strong uptrend in Terra data. That's a weekly trader signal this week. CME, you can see CME is holding pretty well in strong uptrend since Monday. And even retail stocks like Macy's, you can see is in strong uptrend. And same idea, if you think market reached the bottom and 50-day moving average holds, then these are some of the trade ideas that you can pursue. If you're a longer term trade, the idea that signal holds for, up to 10 days, right? Up to 10 days. And same idea, we split the trade into two, and just instead of 1% stop loss, here it will be 2.5%, right? 2.5% of $26 is about 70 cents, right? 50, 70, 60 cents. And same idea, split the trade into two. And you can trade a stock, or if you want to leverage, you can always look at the options data and consider option contracts. It could be single call. A lot of people ask us, it could be single call. It could be single calls, it could be spreads, just depends on your risk tolerance, right? Single calls are a lot more aggressive, speculative. Option spreads are more moderate in terms of the strategy. If you want to actually see what I trade, then Elite Circle. I encourage you to look at the Elite Circle. You have a combination of both stock and option trades, and then you can see all of my positions, right? So you can see Caterpillar, you can see Cisco, and all of the trades. So today, I have, and then, I added to Caterpillar yesterday. I did option Cisco trade 2 days ago, and every day you will see a combination of stock and option trades. You have a live trading room, you have a closing bell and the morning bell, and then you have recordings. If you can participate live, we have Keith, who can, if you're looking for a custom trading plan, or you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I encourage you to go to contact and schedule an appointment with Keith. He's our head trader. He's been working with hedge funds and market makers, so he's an expert when it comes to option trading, and now we partner together where I provide signals and technology and my experience managing portfolio with his kind of deep expertise and knowledge in trading. So we have morning bell, closing bell. You can schedule one-on-one consultation with Keith and ask for potentially one-on-one coaching if you need more guidance. And he can build custom plan depending on how much help you need. And you have access to traders log, right? Orders, positions. You can, if you can participate live in the morning bell and closing bell, I encourage you to watch the recordings. Every day we have recordings where you can watch. Right? Both Keith and myself. You can enter your phone to get an SMS alert. So that's what we offer. If you just want option spreads, we have premium portfolio, right? You can see not only the open position. I use option spread, like I'm actually hedging with QQQ. We have Google Trade, we have Morgan Stanley, ExxonMobil. I entered option spread position in this trade, but you can also consider single call or single stock as a trade, right? We also offer different tools, right? You can look at different research tools. So seasonal chart can show you seasonality, right? From seasonality point of view, right? It's a bullish time of the year, right? 71% correlation, still pretty high. Usually the drop is September, October, and then November is strong. For now, we kind of experience this short-term dip. We'll see if we're going to have a Christmas rally or not in November, December. And also you can look at the probability calculator that basically tells you, right now 680 is your overhead resistance, support is 660, right? So 76% of the time I'm going to be trading between 660 and 680. So these are some of the tools, models. You can robo-investors where only trade stock. We have a YouTube channel. We have a lot of learning center guides if you're looking for different videos. So you want to learn about technical analysis, option basic trade management. You can find all this information here. We have different trading guides you can read, right? Long-term trading plans, short-term trading plans, and different topics to review. Any questions? Andre, Joseph, Mark, any questions? Any of the content? All right, guys, let's keep an eye on VIX, right? You know, anything above 20 is still high, elevated level of uncertainty. We'll see where we close today. If we close below 20 on VIX, I think that's a big win for the bulls. If we revisit 23 or 24 by end of the day, then I think the sell-off might accelerate next week. So today close price is very important. But we are sitting at the important support levels, so it's too early to tell who's going to win. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Have a great weekend. You too. Thank you, Joseph, Andre. Thank you.